Within days, Earth would begin to die. Within days, Earth would begin to die. What if Earth suddenly had two suns? At first, humanity would celebrate. People would flood the streets, phones would rise into the air. Social media would explode with theories, excitement, and fear. Two suns. Two massive stars burning above our world. A miracle unlike anything humanity had ever seen. But within hours, Earth would begin to die. Because a second sun would not simply light our skies. It would completely transform our planet forever. The first changes would begin almost immediately. Temperatures across the globe would start rising at terrifying speeds. Weather systems would collapse into chaos. Massive heat waves would spread across entire continents. In cities around the world, people would stare upward in disbelief as daylight became painfully bright. The sky itself would change color. Sunrises would become blinding. Nights would almost disappear. And for the first time in human history, Earth would no longer have darkness. Scientists would quickly realize the truth. This was not just another star visible from Earth. A second sun meant another massive gravitational force entering our solar system. And gravity controls everything. The moon's orbit would become unstable. Tides across the oceans would begin behaving unpredictably. Some coastlines would experience gigantic floods, while others would suddenly retreat for miles. Entire ecosystems would collapse within days. But the real nightmare would come from heat. Earth exists in a delicate balance. Even a small increase in solar energy could devastate life on this planet. With two suns, that balance would shatter completely. Within the first 24 hours, temperatures in many regions could become unbearable. Power grids would fail under extreme demand. Wildfires would spread uncontrollably across forests and cities. Roads would melt. Air conditioning systems would stop working. Millions of people would desperately try to escape the heat. And this would only be the beginning. Within weeks, glaciers across Greenland and Antarctica would begin melting at catastrophic speeds. Sea levels would rise rapidly. Entire coastal cities would start disappearing beneath the oceans. New York, Tokyo, Rio de Janeiro, Miami, one by one. Many of the world's greatest cities would begin drowning. Meanwhile, other parts of Earth would transform into deserts. Rain patterns would completely change. Agriculture would collapse. Food shortages would spread across nations. Governments would struggle to maintain order as panic consumed entire populations. And then, the oceans themselves would begin to change. As temperatures continued rising, evaporation would accelerate on a massive scale. Gigantic storms, unlike anything in recorded history, would form across the planet. Hurricanes larger than entire countries could appear. The atmosphere would become unstable. The climate would spiral out of control. Scientists would desperately search for solutions. Underground cities, artificial climate shields, mass evacuations. But humanity would face an impossible reality. Earth was never designed for two suns. Months later, much of the planet could become nearly uninhabitable. Animals would vanish, forests would burn away. Fresh water would become more valuable than gold. Entire wars could begin over the last remaining safe regions on Earth. And yet, some humans would still refuse to leave. Even as the skies burned above them, from space, Earth would no longer look like the blue planet humanity once called home. It would glow with violent storms, endless fires, and massive clouds covering entire continents. A world transformed into something alien. But perhaps the greatest danger would not be heat alone. A second sun could destabilize Earth's orbit itself. If our planet drifted even slightly closer to one of the stars, the consequences would become unimaginable. The atmosphere could begin disappearing, oceans could boil, life on Earth could collapse entirely. Human civilization, built over thousands of years, could vanish within a single generation. And the terrifying part is, the universe already contains planets orbiting two suns. Scientists call them circumbinary planets. Some may even support life. But Earth was not born in such a system. Our world evolved around a single star. One sun gave humanity life. A second sun might bring its end. So if you looked into the sky tomorrow morning and saw two suns rising above the horizon, would humanity survive? Or would that second sunrise become the beginning of Earth's final chapter?